All right, so through all this, there were a lot of victims. Um, I'm about to call one here. A lot of those victims were too afraid to come forward. Um, Many of them were afraid of the volunteers, but a lot more of them were afraid of the police. It's a sad turn of events. I'm going to call this lady and I'm going to let her tell her story. I didn't get any sleep last night, and I've been trying to. She said mid afternoon, so I'm hoping this is close enough to mid afternoon.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 406.
Nope. I guess I will end this video. Um, we'll see if she's even still on. She just saw my message, so we'll see. There's a lot of people who never had to go through this, um, and they have opinions. But it's great to have opinions, it really is. But you need to listen to facts. You have to listen to the people who have been through this. You really do. Because if you don't do something about this, you increase the chances of it happening to you. You go, oh, this could never happen to me. This could never happen to me. I bet you didn't think that you'd be stuck in your house without toilet paper, did you? But it happened. Now, if it weren't for the fact that most of America is dealing with your same poo poo issue, who would believe you? Probably nobody. I mean, how many people took Flint, Michigan seriously with their water issues? Lots of people posted about it on Facebook, and for years, they still didn't do anything about it. The fact is, there are a lot of children who are going through this, and a lot of parents too. Now, I'm not saying that none of the children who are taken from CPS need to be in a home. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. My parents couldn't stay off the drugs. I needed somewhere to go. My parents were very selfish people who could not stay off the mat or stay off the cocaine. It was the 1980s. Um, but some of the foster homes, matter of fact, most of the foster homes that I was in were worse than my parents would have ever done to me. My parents never would have raped me. My parents never would have molested me. My parents never would have forced me to eat food with bugs in it while they eat something different. The foster care system in Colorado is nasty. But I wasn't just in the system in Colorado. I was also in the system in Washington State. I was in Tacoma General Hospital. I was in Fairfax Mental Hospital. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that place. If you've ever watched Patch Adams with Robin Williams, the very beginning, he goes to Fairfax and he teaches that dude or helps that dude who's afraid of the squirrels go to the bathroom. That's where I was at. This is a tobacco pipe. Don't have any money for cigarettes, obviously, but I am addicted to tobacco, so that's how I smoke it. A lot of people are too afraid to come forward. And the police, they did everything in their power not to look at that. They did everything in their power to slander my name. When I was assaulted by a Boulder police officer, they eventually dropped the charges because they had a better frame job at Clearview. Because they refused to allow me to file a report against Officer Waylon Lolatai and refused to investigate him. Well, a lot of that evidence has a time limit. There's a statute of limitations in place, and he got away with the terrible things that he did. He also assaulted 6 more people after me. Now we've got phonies like Darren O'Connor who pretends that he's out to help the homeless, but he's not. His excuse for omitting my story and for ignoring what happened to me was pathetic. When it came down to it, the 3 people that he helped had housing. My housing was taken away from me because Natalie Bollinger was killed. Now, as everyone knows who is anybody at all, yeah, Joseph Michael Lopez is serving 48 years in prison for killing her because he killed her. But he's not the only one. He really isn't. What her family put her through made her suicidal for most of her life. Being raped by her father, being ignored by her mother choosing abusive men over her father choosing drugs over her, molesting her and beating her, selling her body to pay his drug debts. And you've already heard from Bobby Forrest on this here channel. You've heard from Samantha D on this here channel. I'm not one of those people who just posts up a little bit in piece here and there. Now, there are times when I have done that. It's because I didn't have the ability to show the whole thing, but when I can show the whole thing, I do. When it comes to Jamie's son, I can't post that up here on my YouTube channel. Although I would love to. A lot of the stuff between myself and these witnesses, I can't show in its entirety because those phones were stolen and the police in Tacoma would do nothing about it. I'm gonna try to get a hold of this lady a few more times. I'll eventually be so exhausted that I will just pass out. And at that point, she's going to have a lot of problems trying to get a hold of me because I'll sleep right through it. There's a lot of situations that I've been a part of. I'm going to post one here in the comments section. I'm looking it up right now. When Natalie died, I was forced to stay with a lot of different strangers. I needed people's help, and I ended up, most of the places I went ended up being drug dealers, drug addicts, and alcoholics. It was a very scary situation for me. Let's see. This is a story from Sally Trions in Puebla. This is actually from a news agency. Now, I was at Sally Trions while this woman was pregnant with her baby, with her son. A year to the day after Natalie Bollinger was shot in the head, this woman who stayed at Sally Trions, who was a meth addict, I don't know that Sally Trion was a meth addict, but this woman, she certainly was. Last name is Gatlin. Now, it's important to note that I have been trying my best to show the truth. Not all parents deserve to have their kids. They don't. But at the same time, what CPS is doing, it's immoral. They're literally killing children. They're killing children in foster homes at a rate of 5 per day. Every single day in America, 5 children die in foster care. That don't seem like a lot to most of y'all, does it? Why would you care about just 5 children? Well, that's kind of what I've been noticing about this coronavirus. A lot of you guys are like, well, it only kills old people and people with faulty immune systems. And then we got people who are old and have faulty immune system going, hey, that's messed up. Well, as somebody who grew up in foster care, I can tell you it is messed up. It is messed up that these children are still dying today. Because why? Because there are so many messed up foster homes. 1,730 foster children die in the United States on average every year. And that number is only getting larger. When I talk about how many messed up foster homes there are that I was in growing up, I was in the temporary foster care system in Colorado. You get 2 weeks per foster home. You can't visit the same foster home twice. And in just one stint, I was in there for 2.5 years. That's a lot of foster homes. All told, I was in well over 70 foster homes. And some of them were good, some of them were bad. It's a lot of dead people. It really is. 1,730. I think to myself often about the number of children who were put through those foster homes that I tried to tell on. The ones where I was raped, the ones where I was molested, the ones where I was beaten, the ones where I had a choice between going hungry or eating food that had maggots in it. Now, were they maggots? No, they were actually beetle larvae, but might as well have been. They look pretty much the same as maggots. They really do. And I think to myself, how many of those places killed people? I think to myself, how many of those foster homes that I was in were good? And then I think to myself, how many of them were bad? How many of them did I tell on? How many of them did I get in trouble for telling on? How many was I abused for telling on? How many police treated me badly for telling on those places. Because obviously they're foster homes. They have that trust. They must be the good guys because they're foster parents. Well, that is not always the case. My very first foster home was wonderful. It was in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Gary and Mary Jepson were foster parents here in Chapel, Nebraska. They're good people. But not all foster homes were like that. I'm really hoping that Lindsay gets back to me. I want to tell her story. I want to be able to get others to come forward. I'd like to get her story before I end up passing out. And I'm really sorry that it hasn't happened yet. It's past mid-afternoon, so I don't know if she's gonna call. It's 4 o'clock now. I suppose while I've got this open, I'll show you another one of the places that I was at. I'm gonna go to videos here, and I'm gonna scroll down to the parts with Amy and Andrew Witcher. These are two other people that I stayed with after Natalie was killed. There's 3 parts to it, so I'm going to give you all 3. These are the messages between myself and Amy Witcher. And they help to show you that I've been telling the truth all along. A lot of people, they don't care about the truth. They care about opinion. A lot of these people that are too afraid to come forward, they want to tell me that I shouldn't care what other people think. Obviously, they care what other people think, or they wouldn't be so afraid to come forward. But then again, those of you who got to see what the police did to me, the way that I was treated by the Bollinger family, you understand why. Nobody should have to go through these things. Nobody. Another one of the places that I was staying. I'm gonna post up a couple of videos from Ryan Ingersoll. This is somebody that I stayed with after Natalie died. This woman is a long-term friend. These videos are after she got sober. And she admits to the screwed up things that she did. Not just to those kids, but also to me. I'm not going to give you Lindsay's full name. If she wants to do that on this here channel, that's up to her. I'm just going to give you her first name because that way at least she is somewhat protected. There's so much more here to it than that as well. I mean, there's just so much. There's a lot of calls here with Brandon Ratner. There's calls here with Mandy Hughes. There's calls here with Aaron Cockerham. There's calls here with Cara Rogers, aka Cara Mia. This one right here is with Amy Spencer, aka Amy Kalina Kingery. That situation with Rayanna, this is the mother of the children that we were watching. When Rayanna talks about how CPS released her children 2 months ago and Amy still hasn't gone to pick them up. That hurts me. That hurts me personally. Because my parents chose drugs over me. My parents left me in a system where I was beaten, raped, drugged, because they just didn't have what it took to stay off the drugs. As an adult, I've helped out a lot of drug addicts. Some of them are parents. When I helped Megan Christie, I knew that she was a meth addict. She admitted it. She was honest about it. That guy in the first one here, where me and Amy are talking about Brock. Brock used to live in this very house with Megan Christie. He's the one who was getting her meth for her. And when she went to Colorado to get meth, he's the one that watched her kids. I just got a message. It's from Lindsay. She wants to know if she can do it on Facebook Live. So I'm going to end this now, I guess, and set it up to talk to her, and I'll change the title of this video so that we can make one specific for her.